The universe is benevolent, but our genetic memory is not. Our genetic memory, our family lineage, and all the history of this planet is buried in our bodies. And that experience is radically different from the truth that the universe is benevolent. We have, for thousands of years, become attached to and addicted to our bodies, and we are expressing the genetic memory and family lineage of all of the history of the struggle of this planet over and over and over again. And this is what is constantly keeping our consciousness from expanding and growing beyond the earth realm. And when I say earth realm, I am also including the astral planes, or what Catholics call purgatory, because 99% of the people, when they die, they still stay trapped in the earth's frequency in an area called the astral plane or purgatory. They live their life just like they lived on earth. They go and be with their dead relatives, and they continue with this identity and this identity's genetic memory of all the struggles and addictions and pains and pleasures that are all part of a very limited program in the universe. Earth is only one tiny little program running in our universe. But there are millions and millions of what I call avatars, and those are the physical incarnations of our consciousness given to us by our soul. Millions of us, of beings, are trapped in this astral plane because of genetic memory. This is why I teach the sacred fire, to cleanse and purify your energy system, but to also cleanse and purify your lineage. And this is why meditation is extremely important, because your consciousness, which you are responsible for, cannot grow beyond the limited frequencies of Earth if you do not free it from the genetic memory of this planet. Now, of course, you say, well, it's in our genes. And yes, it is in our genes, and it is expressing itself over and over again. Wars, pain, struggle, rise and falls of civilizations, egos, competition, aggression. On the other hand, people are trying to become civilized and work with their neighbors and create commerce and trade and trying to live in harmony, but there's constant competition, constant struggle, constant genetic memory playing itself out. Humanity is unconscious. And I say this as that 95% of your day that you are going about your life is unconscious. In other words, you are running on your genetic memory, your family lineage, and your habitual addictions and patterns that have been created when you were born here. But the truth is, what we perceive from our genetic memory is not the truth. It is a false perception, a false illusion, a false delusion of reality, because the universe is very benevolent. The universe is loving and giving and caring and supporting, and the universe wants you to grow and to be happy and healthy and expand your consciousness. This is why meditation is so extremely important, and people have to learn to discipline themselves to sit down and be quiet, to still the monkey mind, to still the turmoil of their emotions and be very quiet, because the universe is speaking to you. The universe loves you, and all of life loves you. Nature loves you, and you say, but nature is hostile. Things kill me here, they bite me, they are viruses, whatever they are. That has been created from our genetic memory. There is also a very benevolent energy flowing on this planet. I've mentioned it before in other videos. There is a flow, a stream that rolls through this planet around and around in a wave that is highly benevolent, supportive, filled with love. And that frequency, we need to learn to reach into that frequency. And in order to do that, we have to expand and free our consciousness from the physical body. Now, again, the consciousness is not attached to the body. Consciousness is attached to our divine blueprint. I have videos on this. But consciousness is controlling and working with this body more through an electromagnetic field, the astral field for sure, because it's emotional, and subconsciousness works in the astral. But consciousness is also working and controlling this physical body through the divine blueprint, through our electromagnetic system. And so it's important that we use the sacred fire. I have videos on the sacred fire and meditations on the sacred fire to cleanse out all this old programming that's running through our brain and our nervous system and our energy system, like the chakras. And then once we clear that out, we have to go back and clean our family lineage on both sides, because there is no reincarnation. I have very many videos on that. But to restate this, there is no reincarnation. Reincarnation is a trap to keep you continuously recycling in a timeline, never freeing the consciousness from this planet. And the point is, it's not past lives of your soul. It's your lineage that is affecting you. It is the genetic memory from thousands of years that's carried over in your lineage. And this is what has to be cleaned and purified, so that you have an open system ready to be expanded. Consciousness needs to be able to be freed from the physical body so that it can expand into higher bodies. And I have many videos on all the higher bodies that we are capable of inhabiting. Right now, we're talking in our videos of 4th, 5th, and 6th density, or what I call frequencies. Some people say dimensions, but dimensions is a different word because science uses it in a different way. But they are frequencies of consciousness, intelligent consciousness, intelligent love, highly benevolent energy systems, and highly benevolent consciousnesses that are around us continuously because of our divine blueprint. Our divine blueprint is multidimensional. It exists in all the higher frequencies, so that we are never alone. Even though we are here in a very dense and highly contrasted reality, we have access to higher frequencies of consciousness within our divine blueprint. And those higher frequencies have benevolent beings who are already existing in those densities, and they are sending us support constantly. What we have to do is awaken to this idea that the universe is benevolent. And so what you have to learn to do is to retrain your mind and retrain your emotions to begin to perceive the goodness and benevolence of life. And when things happen to you unexpectedly that appear to be negative, you cannot allow your genetic programming to label something as negative, because you just keep repeating patterns that millions of souls or avatars have been creating over and over and over again. Something happens, they don't understand it, something happens against their ego, and they label it as negative. And so this genetic memory just continues to go and go and go. And it's going to fall off a cliff, my friends. Within the next 200 years, there are going to be great changes upon this planet. I have a video that there's a new life force that is coming to replace this current programming, because the genetic memory here is so strong that unless my unless my library and unless people like me start to change this flow of genetic memory and start to establish a benevolent path for humanity, humanity will just continue to go off a cliff. So we are very stuck in these patterns, but they are not irreversible and they're not permanent. They can be changed, but we have to do the work to change it. We cannot be spiritually lazy. We have to be spiritual warriors now. So I'm appealing to my spiritual friends to be spiritual warriors, to discipline yourself, to quiet your mind and quiet your emotions, to meditate every single day, to reach out to this flow of energy which I've spoken about before, that is moving on the planet. And this energy are immortal beings, they're ascended masters, they're fourth, fifth, sixth density beings who are here, who are benevolent, who are loving you, who are supporting you. And even when you make a mistake, you perceive a mistake, those lemons are turned into lemonade. Because nothing is in error if you understand that when something happens that your ego is resistant to, it is not a negative. It is a chance to readjust your genetic memory. So when something happens unexpected that looks like it's negative, it's an opportunity to go, okay, here comes a piece of genetic memory that is wanting to label something negative, contrasting, polarizing, us versus them, light versus dark. What can I do with this little piece that is now manifesting? And our job is to take that piece of genetic memory that has just popped up and is saying, this is bad, and completely dissolve and consume that in the sacred fire, completely reprogram our thoughts and our brains, completely calm our emotions into a still inner peace, and allow benevolence and love to guide us. So when something happens unexpected to me, this is what I do. I may have a moment flare up, but then I immediately get control over my emotions and my mind, and I say, this is a program, a genetic memory that is trying to reassert itself that the world is hostile, the world's against me, or whatever it's trying to say, and I do not accept that. And I replace that thought with something I can hold on to that was very benevolent, loving, miraculous in my life. And I have left in this library many experiences I've personally had of ecstasy, of being visited by angels, of being visited by divine beings, of being taken up on ships, of traveling to planets that we have a possibility to go to in the Great Migration. So when something happens that's unexpected and it causes you to activate that program, immediately replace it with some new memory or even a past memory where something wonderful happened to you, something miraculous. And I have a lot of, not even just being visited by angels and ecstasy miracles that I can replace this with. I have everyday miracles, everyday benevolence happening to me. I recently have moved from one place to another, and just as an easy example, I laid out a list of things I needed in the new place that I moved. And some of them were not going to be easy to come by, but they were every single thing on my checklist was manifested for me in the place that I have recently moved to. Difficult kind of things with the way that I wanted no carpet in the house and the way I wanted to go out of my door and turn to the corner of my house here and be able to walk on a beautiful wooden trail. That I wanted all these different other things in my house. It manifested perfectly for me. I've had other experiences where I've gone into legal situations or business situations where something was catastrophic or something was coming against me, and I didn't know how I was going to solve that problem, because the monkey mind will spend all day spinning its wheels trying to solve the problem, and that's that old genetic programming, running and running and running and running. And we have to shut that monkey mind off, because the answer is always there. But the answer lies in the benevolent, loving frequency that is here on the planet. So when you have a challenge in your business or legal or health, and I've had health challenges that I've also done, that miraculous things have come my way. But when these challenges come, you cannot engage the monkey mind. You cannot massively, gather up huge amounts of ego force and force your way in through a situation, or steamroll your way through a situation. This is the old genetic programming. And there are a lot of coaches who mean very well, but they teach a lot about how, you have an obstacle, drive through that obstacle, blah, 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 and they get very aggressive towards their problems. You do not need to do this. This is old genetic programming. And aggression and dominance and pushing and shouting and all these kind of animal behaviors, while you may have a temporary victory because you ran over someone or you pushed through something, you always pay for that in the end. The answers to your life's problems or issues are always there, and they are always existing in a frequency that you can access if you are calm, if your mind is still, and if your emotions are calm. So when I have a problem, I go sit down. I have a big picture window that overlooks my yard, which is filled with trees and woods, and I relax my mind. And you could then close your eyes and meditate, or you just need to relax your mind and your emotions. You could stare out into the nature. Nature is very loving and supportive. Sometimes I have a problem, I go on my walk. I go on the nature trail and I walk. And I just allow nature to support me and to love me. I calm my mind, I calm my emotions. And many times, by the time I'm done with my walk, I have the answer. Sometimes I'm sitting in my chair, and because I've calmed myself, an insight will come. And sometimes I will meditate. I will close my eyes and I will meditate for 10 or 15 minutes. And I may just finish the meditation without an answer, but I am now receptive, because perhaps the answer comes when I go and I turn on my computer and I look for something and the answer is suddenly there in an email or something online, or someone is about to call later that afternoon with the answer. So not always is the answer immediate when you sit down, but you have calmed yourself to a point where you can now be receptive to the answer. And I've had people tell me when I've made decisions to go out on a limb, you could say, or just in faith and trust to go a different direction with my work or my career. And I've had many people tell me it would never work. They're not going to accept that. You're not going to be able to do that. And these are the old programmings running. And I just say, thank you very much, but I follow my own guidance. I don't listen to the world's friends. I don't listen to the world. I follow my own guidance. And when I acknowledge my own power, because there is no greater power than the power that has created you. Your consciousness that is animating your body through its divine blueprint is the most powerful thing in the universe. There's no greater power. And yes, that consciousness will use others to bring a solution to you. But the key to remember is that the world is running on genetic memory and genetic programmings, and the world does not have, quote, the answer. So what I do first is I always acknowledge the answer I got from Spirit. And then I allow Spirit to confirm that for me through synchronicities, through coincidences, through confirmation. And even if I don't have the answer right away, because I have calmed and stilled myself and I am in a state of receptivity, if the answer comes from a friend, it is in harmony with everything that I am. It doesn't run in conflict to that. Because who am I when I get that response? I am emanating my higher consciousness, which has been freed from the body. So when an answer comes perhaps from outside, it comes in a harmonious way because I am awakened and I am dwelling in higher consciousness. So higher consciousness is calling that support system, support system, support system. Now, you can't get those support systems if your mind is running and running and running in programs and your emotions are spiking up and down. So this video today is trying to help you to remember the universe is benevolent. And in order to reach this benevolent frequency, you have to free your consciousness from the programs, from the genetic programs and from your lineage. You have to expand your consciousness into these higher frequencies. In these higher frequencies, there is no fear. There is no fear. So when people come at you with fearful thoughts, oh, this is going to get you, or that's going to get you, or you can't do that, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. You have a place where you can dwell in a frequency of no fear, because you know the universe is benevolent and loves you and is always supporting you. Now, if you don't know that today, friends, this is why I am talking to you specifically. You've got to start knowing this. You've got to look in your life, find when something really wonderful happened to you. These wonderful events, these wonderful miracles, these wonderful experiences, hold on to them and learn to meditate and calm the mind, and calm the emotions, and begin to start being a spiritual warrior. Begin to start disciplining yourself. Because no matter if this genetic program just keeps right on running, you don't have to run off the edge with it. You can choose to leave this frequency after death. You can choose to go into higher realms of reality. You can choose to be a benevolent being right now because you cannot go where you haven't already been manifesting. So in order to go to these higher frequencies, we need to start anchoring the knowing, the unshakable knowing that the universe loves us and supports us and is benevolent towards us. So that is my message today, friends. And I want to thank you for listening. And if you want to come join my Patreon group, I have a link below where we do group gatherings of talking about the sacred fire and all our experiences. So I will see you again next time. Thank you.